supply. The thing is like the countries can only operate. The reason that the war in like if you look in World War II, the reason that the Japanese couldn't continue fighting the war in the Pacific because they could have, they started running out of oil.
Well, yeah.
That's it. You want to know something crazy? I looked into. I have this wonderful. There's been these wonderful books I've been studying about financial history. Like, all right, in a micro sense, most people operate like this. They're either doing stuff for status, money, or women. That's the big three. But if you look everything at a bird's eye view and start macro, if you really look at it, like if you really look at a far enough view, right? Most of the time, people are doing something. It's because you can just like follow the money, and it explains everything. Because like when these nations, like if you make a lot of money as a nation, you got a lot more status, and you got women, and you got importing, and stuff. Like it's that sort of thing, right? And there's people who control a lot of the industries, and they have all that money, and then they got all the cocaine, the hookers, and all the blow and shit, right? That's how the world works, whether we like it or not, right? Now, send glitter bombs. But and yeah, as Venmo is owned by PayPal, Peter Thiel. And like I really believe Peter Thiel is one of the people that started the whole bank run on Silicon Valley Bank. He saw that the bank was kind of like, oh, it's actually because of all these losses, they have a lot of paper losses on their bonds and stuff. So stop me at any point, bro, if I'm just talking too much about this shit. But basically, he basically told all his startups and all his things, yo, take your money out of Silicon Valley Bank. And then it got to the grapevine, oh fuck, Peter Thiel and all the PayPal mafia is taking their money out of Silicon Valley Bank. Fucking everyone rugged at that point.
The trickle
it
effect,
was
yeah.
not crypto. All these banks, other than Silvergate was the one crypto bank. These other ones were really major players in the crypto space, but they were very large already. Like I think even First Republic, 5% to 10% of their entire balance sheet was crypto anyway, and stuff. So that wasn't enough to take it down. It was really Peter Thiel and the PayPal mafia kind of rugging that bank, and then starting this chain reaction on the run of the bank. There, that's what happened. Okay, and that's pretty much what Cascade. And they just and what they did is they used this opportunity to rug every fucking crypto bank in the United States. Silvergate, that's the biggest crypto bank and the oldest. Dunzo, what's called First Republic, Dunzo. I think they're really big in Puerto Rico. Yikes! I think they're the second or third biggest bank in Puerto Rico. I remember being down in Puerto Rico. Banco Popular is the biggest bank in Puerto Rico, and First Republic is a decent bank down there in Puerto Rico. Big bunch of crypto money gone now. Okay, cool. Now we just took out Signature Bank, which had the instant payment lines and stuff, like I was talking about. So you can gone, and like 3 out of those 4 banks I talked about technically didn't have to go under. They were salvageable, but then the FDIC and the government forced them to go bankrupt and then get consolidated. Yeah. Signatures in New York. Yes. Yeah, but they have a thing. If you actually go on my previous videos and it's all in my previous videos, you guys. Yeah, I got all this stuff recorded down.
You gotta go through the catalog.
Gotta go through the catalog, man. Yeah, those PayPal mafia guys are worth so damn much for sure, man. So so now what's left? What's the biggest bank in crypto? It's JP Morgan now. One of the private members and owners of the Federal Reserve. Look at that. Magic. Chef's kiss. Look at that. Right? So there's all this stuff going on geopolitically and stuff like that. So oil's probably going to start going up in price, which is good for the EVs, I guess, right? But not now. But but the United States is going to be when we had Trump in office, I think it was like in 2015 or 2016. I'm trying to remember when they did this. The fucking Saudis did this shit. Okay, so they did this one thing where basically there's I think there's a year I think in the first or second year of Trump being in office, the United States, for the first time in a long time, we were self-sufficient in oil. The Saudis freaked the fuck out because we weren't buying oil anymore. So what they did is they decided to IPO a Saudi Aramco, which is their privately owned oil company. And they decided to IPO 1% of the company. And the company was valued at like $2 trillion. So imagine your company, you've IPO'd, you're putting 1% of your company on there. So the reason they did that is so then they have to do this land survey, and they have to figure out, okay, how many barrels of oil do you own? They found out, like, remember a long time ago this bullshit like, oh, there's not enough oil anymore. We're out of oil. We're out of barrels of oil, right?
Dude,
We're
America's sitting on huge reserves of oil.
huge reserves of oil, but like we're gonna run out of oil. They have trillions of barrels of oil. They're never running out of oil. So what they did is they IPO'd a Saudi Aramco to dump the price of oil down so they could fucking bankrupt the fucking fracking industry in the United States. They'd rather make $50 a barrel of oil forever than allow the Americans to get under their grasp.
It's the chess move.
These are the big moves going on in the background and stuff. Why stuff's really happening. But no, it's a stimulus check that's causing all the inflation. Get the fuck out of here. My $1,200 stimulus check. That's the reason crypto went up so high. No. The reason crypto went so high. Sure, $1,200. Sure. The smart guys, like if you invested if you look, we're Rocky. Want to know some crazy stat? If you took your $1,200 stimulus check and put it into Hex when it came out in 2020, you'd have $100,000 right now.
Yep. I've heard you say it a couple times.
Plus, not even fucking including interest.
It's fucking
Bros.
crazy.
Like it's insane. Like that's why I'm saying take your cash. But like but you still did pretty good on the other stuff, right? But not as good as Hex, right? But still, that's the kind of crazy shit. Yeah, the Canadians too. But it's a lot. It takes a lot of processing. So we have plenty of fracking oil. We have plenty, and there's tar sands in Canada and stuff, but it needs a lot of processing and stuff like that. The reason the Canadian currency is such in dog shit array right now is because the United States isn't letting Canada get the Keystone pipeline done, the XL pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what's going on is the United States is kind of like, because we're not allowing them to export more oil freely into the domestic market over here in the States and in Mexico and everywhere else. They're having trouble getting an onboard of dollars into Canada. So the Canadian dollar, when they're printing the Canadian dollar, that's why it's unpegging so much to the dollar so much. Normally the Canadian dollar is like 90 cents per dollar, right? Like so you pay $1.10 Canadian, that'll get you $1 US. So it's like 90 cents on the dollar. We hit I think the other day, I mean not other day, but like when shit was really bad a couple months ago, we hit like 56 cents.
Damn.
56 cents on the Canadian dollar. It's just not having access to that the Keystone pipe. That's why it's such a big issue. And then I'm pretty sure there's some money in the background paying the like Indian lobby because it's because the pipeline crosses through Indian territory, and I'm pretty sure there's some interest groups and some oil people in the United States paying the
keep it like that.
To keep it like that until like okay, allow it. There's a lot of sauce, you guys. There's a lot of sauce right now going through and stuff like that. But yeah, and then there's also a political thing too. Biden shut down the Keystone pipeline, and that's mostly to keep a little bit more of the oil price a little higher as well, so he can help the frackers out and stuff. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, man, shit's about to get wild in the next couple of years, man. Because if they do a Sandman attack or something like that, the United States is going to start bucking, man. Because at the end of the day, what backs your currency is your military and your economy, of course, and stuff. But like, let's just be for real, military. I mean, that's crazy thing. Like, one, spend a lot of ammunition blowing shit up, or just just reverse the truck out of those countries. Didn't lift a finger, and then they just fucking maul each other. And then when all that fight, the thing is, but being able to have all this oil, right? But when they're fighting with each other, you can't transport oil. If you can't transport oil, almost every country around the world doesn't have oil anymore, and then you just cuck them all out. Chef's